Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
We're kind of operating on I do the quotes. I'm there for the floors.
Yep.
Three of us that do it and put it down, and my wife is like the bookkeeper and the overseer of all that stuff. And I'm lucky because she's really good at the business aspect of things.
Yep.
So that has been awesome. We make a pretty good team in that aspect. But yeah, that's kind of been our challenge, at home.
Well,
but yeah, it's getting better all the time, and it's nice to be able to chat with somebody like you and other people in the community that have kind of reached out that I've talked to that have offered a lot of very sound, good advice. So, like you say, that's kind of one of the things that I'm working on now is learning to delegate certain things. You can't do it all. You can't be the
Yep.
guy that's there
Yep.
overseeing, micromanaging every aspect of the job. So,
Yep. And again, too, like, you're first starting at a company, you're still pretty new. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's had to be there on the ground level, working their butt off to get this thing off of the ground to where you want it to be,
Sure.
So, that the true balance and that kind of stuff does come as you continue to grow your company and you have better support staff to help you for sure. So, well, perfect. What would be maybe some of the best advice based upon your experience you give our audience just in about business?
I would say you kind of already touched on a little bit is to lean on the people around you that you can trust and that you can kind of cultivate a culture within your business that, hey, we work together. I try to tell my guys and gals that work for me that don't be afraid to question anything that I do. And that kind of translates from my drilling experience too. It's kind of one of those things where, it's you want to cultivate a culture of like questioning each other. Ideally, we would all be able to do the same thing. We would all know every aspect of the job, maybe not the business aspect and the home life stuff, obviously, but as far as technically doing the job, I try to have everybody be able to do all parts.
Yep.
And in business in general, I guess, keep an open mind, try not to take things too personally. I think a lot of people really heavily when they first get started rely on their emotions and they think something's going to go one way, and when it doesn't, it's like a implode moment, and you just got to be able to kind of brush that off and continue to move forward and keep your eye on the overall goal, I guess. And yeah, that's kind of the best advice I would give is keep an open mind and don't be afraid to lean on people around you for support that are there to help you. So,
Man, you're so much further ahead than I was at this point of your business. Man, I remember I was worst case scenario all the time. Like I was my own worst enemy. I was constantly thinking negative thoughts like, oh crap, what if they don't know how to do it this way? What if they don't think of this? And
Right.
Literally, like the more negative I thought and the more worst case scenario situations I thought of, more negative stuff came my way.
Yeah.
It's interesting how your mindset attracts similar, outcomes.
Oh,
And
yeah. I 100% believe that, what you put out into the universe, in a way you kind of get back. And yeah, negative thoughts, sometimes it's good to vent and get that off your chest.
Yep.
But then at the end of the day, you've got to go ahead and move forward and figure out, not waste your energy on things that aren't going to help you. So
Exactly.
Yeah,
I feel like
we've been good with that so far. And we've had plenty of times to test that out. But yeah, it's It's been good.
Yeah, it's the fun thing about business, and the frustrating thing about business is that you're always learning. Even just last night and this last couple of weeks with our business, there's just been a learning curve on stuff that I didn't think it was even going to come up.
Right.
So it's interesting. Now we're close to 9 years into this thing, and it's just still you're still learning about stuff. So
Yeah.
it's fun, but it's also frustrating, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So
Yeah.
it's been rewarding.
Yeah.
Well,
If you
perfect. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but I was just going to say, always learning. That's kind of one of the things that's kind of attracted me to owning and operating my own business. Is the hobbies that I enjoy are, I guess, could be summed up in as learning new things.
Yeah.
uh, last few years I've gotten into ice climbing with some friends of mine and love to fly
Jeez.
airplanes and mountain biking. In the last 4 or 5 years, it's like, man, what else does Pocatello have to offer here that it doesn't? I haven't already seen. And everywhere I turn, there's something new, that you can learn. And the business standpoint has not disappointed in the new learning things. But yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%. You're always learning, and if you think you're gonna just one day have it all figured out, you might want to not consider owning
Yeah,
your own
seriously.
business. So
Yeah, I say it all the time, but and I'm paraphrasing a quote I've heard from, I don't know where I heard it from, but it's probably an old proverb, but it says the person who takes only the advice of himself has a fool for a master.
yeah,
So it's so true though. Like
oh,
you got to
absolutely.
know that you're going to be learning all the time.
Yeah, one of my
You know?
favorite quotes from my philosophy background, I think, was Socrates, who said, somebody asked him why he's the smartest man in the world, and he said, "I'm the smartest man in the world because I know that I do not know." And
I like
that's
that.
like so true. In order to move
Yep,
forward, you have to understand that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. That's the
that's
place
exactly
you
right.
want to be, and then you can go seek them out. But
That's right. Well, perfect. Let's move on to the lightning round now. Lightning
cool.
round is sponsored by Lookout Credit Union here in Idaho. These guys have branches from Burley all the way to Idaho Falls. Fantastic credit union. If you go into one of their branches and open up a new account and mention that you heard about them on the podcast, on the Idaho Business Podcast, they're going to give you a free swag bag full of all the goodies, t-shirts, whatever you can think of. You're going to get just for mentioning the podcast. So go into one of their branches, tell them you heard about it, get your free gear, and just enjoy their incredible service they offer. So Lookout Credit Union, and here comes the lightning round, Austin.
Okay.
So what's one of maybe the best books slash tool or software that you've used in the last maybe year that's kind of been important and changing for you, and why has it been so great?
Oh man. So I guess one of the best books that I would recommend to anybody in business life in general would be a book by Daniel Kahneman, called Thinking Fast and Slow. Absolutely fantastic book. Lot of like there's a lot of statistics in the book, but Danny Kahneman won a Nobel Prize for this book, and it's definitely worth a read. Um, Life changing for me in the aspect that it shows you how easily we as human beings are kind of manipulated or uh, misunderstand each other, how things
Mhm.
can be framed a certain way, to make you think something, but statistics show something quite different. So I don't know. It's a great book, worth looking into.
Awesome.
Another really good book that I really have enjoyed reading. Nassim Taleb is the author, and The Black Swan is the name of the book. It's a fantastic book that talks about black swan events, which are um, events that are unforeseen that happen that after they've happened can be seem obvious but aren't. And another philosophical type book. But yeah, they've been actually really good helping business. Both guys, oddly enough, own their own business, and one guy was a trader in Wall Street for a long time, worked for himself and stuff. So kind of philosophical, psychological type books, but they're really good. A lot of good, useful information in there. If you're going
I like
into
it.
business, so
I like it. I like to hear new books every time. It's great. So are you an Audible guy or are you an actual, paperback book type person?
I wish I had more time to be a paperback book
Me
person.
too. Me too.
I'm kind of a slow reader. I'm not a real fast reader at all.
join
So,
join the club.
man, I've read the two books I just recommended. I think I've physically read both of those maybe 3 times. We're talking like underlining phrases and
Wow.
stuff like that. So it takes me a while. The Audible stuff has been a game changer for me.
Hmm.
Yeah, my book reading, I guess, or digestion of the books
Yep.
have really gone up since being able to throw on your headset, I guess, and check them out on Audible. So both. I would love to be a paperback reader. Don't really have time for that. So Audible has kind of been my go-to for sure.
Perfect. All right. What's one of the biggest myth business owners need to know the truth about?
Oh, man, where to start on that? I get biggest myth. I think I'm kind of a realist, and I would say that the biggest myth is that if you're passionate about it and you love what this idea, just go for it. It'll work for you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that mentality,
Sure.
but do your homework. Make sure that you're not attempting to um, put your life savings on a wing and a prayer, so to speak. Look at the numbers. What do the numbers tell you? Look at the statistics. How many other businesses in the area have been successful, and how much do they make?
Hmm.
Do your research, um, and then even if you do your research and everything looks great, proceed with caution. I guess that would
Yep.
be. There's lots of myths out there about. One of them I read the other day was these people bought um, a home that had a bakery in the home in Northern California. They bought it from an older couple, and the older couple bought it from another couple that they had tried to make this work, and they bought it from another group of people that had tried to make this work. And you've got a young mid to late 20s couple who now this is their dream and they're going to buy this and they're going to be the ones to make it work. And statistics would say that they've got about an 80% chance of failure within the
Yeah.
first 3 years. I think there's a statistic out there, it might have been in the book that I mentioned, that most startup businesses, I think, have a 80, no, maybe it's 60. Don't quote
It's
me.
pretty high. It might
It's
be
pretty
80. I think
high.
it is.
It might
It's
be
pretty high.
80% chance of failure within the first 3 years. So, those statistics you need to take seriously. And,
Yep.
the myth of, oh, just start your own business. It's easy. Or if you're
Yep.
passionate about it, you're good at what you do. And I think the other thing is luck. A lot of people say, oh, luck doesn't matter. Luck matters. It
Yep.
statistically matters. You can be the right person, the right skills, the right place, the right time, and if you don't have a little bit of luck on your side,
Yep.
it still can implode. So,
You're right.
yeah,
I think that higher percentage. I think it could go, significantly lower if people would actually do what you said and do their homework, number one, and know their numbers as they start. Like what do they perceive to be, as they do the research, what do they perceive, what's the net profit they're going to be, aiming for in this business? If they knew that kind of stuff, and instead of just saying, well, I'm going to bake this cupcake and it's going to cost me 10 cents per cupcake, but I'm going to sell it for $3, that's a ton of money. Then they
right,
don't put in the account of, oh, I've got insurance on the building, I've got, workers' comp for my employees, I've got, all this other stuff, and the cost of, the consumable products then go up and down, especially during COVID,
oh,
stuff like that. If they would do that, I think that failure rate would go significantly lower.
yeah,
Even though I was not one of those people, I was one of those people at the beginning that I didn't do a ton of research. Like you said, I was mostly luck and a lot of just crazy hard work.
yeah,
But now I've learned the sins of my ways,
For
And
sure.
now I'm a big stickler. Every month I'm looking at that P&L, and I'm looking and I'm forecasting. I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing
Yeah.
to run a successful business. So probably not exactly, but it's better
Well,
than I was.
yeah, absolutely. And that's the name of the game, right? Try to get better
So
and better. So
I
yeah.
like it. Okay, last question. What's one of the biggest well, I mean, excuse me. What's one of the questions I should have asked that I did not?
Oh, let's see. Um, Questions you should have asked that you did not. I would say maybe have you were you or did you understand, I guess, when you started the business, what kind of effort and total commitment it would be.
There you go.
um, yeah, so I think that's one thing that a lot of people, almost like the profit and loss statement and everything that you're talking about, doing your research. um, I think a lot of people are prone to be a little bit optimistic, which is not a big deal. It's not necessarily
For
bad,
sure. You need that.
but yeah, you have to have that. I think there's another quote out there that says, successful businessmen all have a little touch of um, delusion in a way, over optimism.
Probably
But
some narcissism, maybe.
maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit. But yeah, I think just asking yourself, were you prepared and did you understand what a commitment, overall total commitment it would be? And I thought I did, but no, I did not. When you really get into it, it's like, the grass is always greener on the other side until you get to the other side and you realize it's not. So it's been great. The business has been great. Don't get me wrong. I really
Sure.
don't mean to be like negative or pessimistic, but you got to be real with yourself and
Mm,
understand, what it's going to take to make it succeed. And I think part of that is understanding that, hey, you might even need to ask somebody else to kind of critique, criticize, look at what you're doing, and look for holes in your plan that you may not be able to see because you're just, you have that bias and that optimism which you need. But
yep.
yeah, it is a total commitment, and I think a lot of people think they know what that means, but then once you get into it, you understand what it means. And um, yeah, so preparing yourself for that, I think, is definitely, at least the best you can, is definitely something all people going into business for themselves should do.
Perfect. Great question. Great answer, man. Okay. Well, if people listening right now are thinking to themselves, okay, I'm going to be either building here soon, either residential or commercial,
Sure.
or they're looking down at their feet and they're seeing some dreary looking floors
Yep.
and they're thinking, man, do I have other options besides maybe just tile, the the vinyl plankings? How do they get a hold of Anderson Epoxy Concepts?
So Anderson Epoxy Concepts, we have a website. It's andersonepoxy.com. We've got our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook. Just look Anderson Epoxy or Google Epoxy Floors, Pocatello, and we'll be the top 5 there that comes up. Or you can call my cell phone number. It's 208-760-7277. Feel free to reach out. I try to do my quotes on Friday. And epoxy is one of those things that, um, like anything, it's a great option. It's a great alternative to tile and wood flooring, and but it also comes with its, fit for purpose, um, type applications where it needs to be put down the right way. You can't just go out and throw some epoxy in your garage and, not grind the floor, not prep it properly, and think that it's going to just be awesome. So I would say, give us a call and let us at least come out and give a quote. I'm all about educating people too, as to if they want to do it themselves. Hey man, reach out, let me know, and I can at least tell you the right way to do it, so you don't end up frustrated in 2 years and when it starts peeling up or whatever. But
That's
yeah,
perfect. I I can vouch for that as well because I know my brother-in-law back, probably 10 years ago decided, hey, I'm going to do something nice for my in-laws and I'm going to put epoxy on their floor, on their garage floor. And he took it all out. He read all the instructions. He thought he knew it. upwards and backwards. He knew how to do it perfectly. Now, flash forward 10 years, there's more concrete showing that epoxy is still left on the floor.
Right.
So there's a difference between knowing how to do it and finding the easy and cheap way. So
for sure, absolutely. Any small business owner knows that there's a plethora of people out there that says I'll just do it myself, and they obviously don't understand the financial commitment, the educational commitment that you've made to do it right. So
yeah, and some of the cheap ways can leave you liable as a business owner, because they most likely probably don't have insurance. They probably don't have that kind of stuff. So if one of their so-called employees get hurt, and they can't cover it, you're going to be on the line for it. So that cheap bid turned into the more expensive bid overnight. So
I see it all.
Anyways,
we are licensed, bonded, insured, and everything.
That's right.
The way it's supposed to be. So
I like it. Okay. Well, Austin, I appreciate you coming to the episode today. This is going to be a 2-part episode, so this is the end of part 2. Nice. But to all those listening, go out there today for the rest of this week and just go conquer it. Have that positivity around you, and just go out and stay away from those negative Nancy's and go forward and just conquer that week. So have a great week. Austin, thanks again. And to all you guys listening, we'll see you next episode.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.